Welcome to our webinar. As you all know, everyone is welcome and this is free, but please, if you could help us to pay our expenses, just donate any amount. Go to our website at rockymountainatheist.ca and click the donate button, and please, any amount will help us to keep on going. Just a few words before we start. So we accept pretty much anyone, right? All the backgrounds and identities. We have never had any disruptive attendees at our webinar, so please let's try and keep this record going. At the end of the presentation, we'll have a Q&A. If you have a question, please use the hand raising icon, which you can find clicking on the reactions on Zoom. Okay, and then you can ask any questions, and please, after you ask the question, just lower your hand. A quick disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed by speakers and audience members are their own, and they do not reflect official policies, positions, and views of RMA or WeCanReason. Our guest speaker tonight is Kat McLeod, and she'll be talking to us about chasing perfection, how the healthy trend is harming us. So I will stop sharing now, and I will allow Kat to share her presentation with us. So Kat, please. Oops. No. Just a second here. Okay. So go ahead and share the screen with us.
It said I was sharing already.
I can see it.
Oh, you can? Okay, I'll share it again.
Okay. Yeah, I could see it too.
See what? No, I'm kidding. I can see it.
Chasing perfection.
We're good, Kat. We're good.
Yay!
I can see it. It says chasing perfection.
Awesome. So some of you know me from
So it's perfect.
Yes. From Social Trivia, or from when I spoke at the WeCanReason conference last year. And when I was there, I talked about the experience I had with herbal remedies. And this is not that same talk, in case you were curious. This is a new talk. This is all about my crusade to change society's sick obsession with the term healthy. Because health is a luxury that not everyone can attain or maintain. For example, I eat a well-balanced, nutritious diet, and my Fitbit confirms that I'm active. However, no amount of eating right and exercising will ever make me, quote unquote, healthy, because I have several chronic illnesses, thanks to taking those herbal products when I was 20 years old. Our society seems to believe that health is a given, and if you're unhealthy, it's somehow your fault. But healthy doesn't just mean free of illnesses and ailments. Since 1948, the World Health Organization has defined health as a, quote, state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, end quote. I wonder how many people using that definition would consider themselves healthy most of the time. Yet many people have no qualms about asking somebody with a visible disability, "What happened to you?" or making judgments about other people's perceived health and wellness, when they really have no clue what somebody else may have endured, overcome, how active they are, or if their diet is balanced or not, even though that should not be anyone else's concern. This quote from Andy Warhol, where he equates health with wealth, seems to sum up how most of our society feels. Quote, "So many people have so many problems. When you think that health is wealth, you're just so grateful to be normal, more or less, aren't you?" End quote. Andy Warhol was a man who likely thought of himself as healthy and normal, despite having an eating disorder for many years and never fully recovering physically or mentally from being shot in 1968. Warhol spent 2 months in the hospital nursing the gunshot injuries, which damaged 9 organs, including his lungs, spleen, esophagus, liver, and stomach, alongside a history of him already having a large hernia. This forced him to wear a surgical corset to support his inner organs and basically hold in his bowels for the last 19 years of his life. The shooting left him with physical scars, a lifetime of trouble eating and swallowing, and a deep fear of hospitals. He had a family history and 15 years worth of gallbladder issues. He begged for an at-home treatment because he believed if he went into the hospital, he would die. And he was right. When he finally agreed to have his gallbladder removed, it would prove fatal. If he had a good primary physician who monitored his health, or if he had the surgery earlier, before his anorexia had become worse and before the gallbladder was severely infected, he likely would have survived. The surgeon found a gallbladder that was completely gangrenous. The organ fell to pieces as it was being removed. Although the surgery was a success, Warhol was awake and watching TV and making phone calls afterwards. In the wee early morning hours of the next day, he suffered ventricular fibrillation, which means his heart quivered and stopped. He died in his sleep. While he didn't have any symptoms for the usual causes of ventricular fibrillation, they speculated his heart stopped due to the stress of the operation and fluid overload. It didn't help that when Warhol arrived for his surgery, he was dehydrated and emaciated from having barely eaten in the previous month, and for years had been taking a daily dose of amphetamines. To onlookers, Andy Warhol looked different because he was an eclectic artist known for his white wig, but he didn't look sick, so his death at age 58 was shocking to many. We often hold conflicting ideas about our bodies and our health. For example, I'm grateful for my body, but I wish it could be different. I agree with Andy's idea of health being wealth in that I would give anything to regain the health I once had. I understand how precious health is and how too many people take it for granted, but I don't adhere to the notion that I should feel abnormal because I no longer have my health. Because no one goes from the cradle to the grave healthy. We all experience illness at some point. Society's obsession with healthy devalues people with chronic illnesses and disabilities. If a person is not in perfect health, it doesn't mean they can't have a rich, fulfilling life. They're still worthy of love and acceptance. And they're still able to contribute to society. You only have to look at the late, great Stephen Hawking if you need evidence of that. When I was younger, I took herbal supplements that destroyed my health and nearly killed me. I was told I'd never be able to work, and I would likely be dead before I was 30. Yet I never stopped working, and, spoiler alert, I'm over 30. Yet, it would have been so easy to curl up and just let myself die. I came close enough times. It took determination and stubbornness to overcome everything that tried to destroy me. And it's often been a very lonely journey. As a result, I deal with a number of chronic illnesses, yet most people have no idea about the struggles I cope with. Not all diseases or disabilities are obvious. Often you see the person and not the challenges they may face in everyday life. This disease is ever present, even when it's invisible to other people. You can't tell by looking at most people if they're struggling, whether it's a physical or mental ailment, or a social cause, like feeling isolated and alone. People tend to assume that everyone's healthy, when quite often that isn't the case. Using our bodies and our health status to determine our value to society is a form of control. The shame and stigma of ill health, or even perceived ill health, can be harmful to mental health, and it's a multi-billion-dollar market. From gyms, diets, the beauty industry, society creates our insecurities so it can exploit and profit from them. People praise expectant parents when they state they don't care if it's a boy or girl as long as it's healthy. But what if it isn't healthy? How must it make the parents of newborns who aren't quote unquote perfect feel? Not only are they not dealing with the news that their bundle of joy has it harder than most now, but they feel a whole range of emotions that they may not have been prepared for. And they may feel isolated from the groups that they were forming with other expectant parents at the time. Being perceived as different from others can lead to alienation, isolation, being ostracized, and feelings of loneliness. While people like to think that they're inclusive of all races, genders, religions, abilities, body types, often people who fall outside the majority feel othered and excluded because they don't fit into what society deems as quote unquote normal. And we've all heard about how serious the loneliness epidemic is, especially since COVID-19 came on the scene. The World Health Organization estimates that 1 in 4 older people are experiencing social isolation, and between 5 and 15% of adolescents are experiencing loneliness. Sadly, there's no age restriction on loneliness. In 2021, Stats Canada reported that 13% of Canadians aged 15 and older, that's 1-5 and older, often feel lonely often or always. Those who are lonely report worse mental health and lower life satisfaction. There's a large body of research which shows that social isolation and loneliness have a serious impact on physical and mental health, quality of life, as well as longevity. Fearing judgment, feeling isolated, othered, or ostracized can drive people to search for quick fixes or cures that often lead them down the path of pseudoscience. They may be tempted to try unproven treatments like alternative, naturopathic, or functional quote medicine, herbal remedies, homeopathy, detox diets to cleanse them of unspecified toxins, or to seek out energy healers, conversion therapy, self-help gurus, faith healers, even psychics. I'd like to share a Carl Sagan quote from his 1995 book, The Demon-Haunted World. Quote, "Pseudoscience speaks to the powerful emotional needs that science often leaves unfulfilled. It caters to fantasies about personal powers we lack and long for, like those attributed to comic book superheroes today and earlier to the gods. In some of its manifestations, it offers satisfaction of spiritual hunger, cures for disease, and promises that death is not the end." End quote. You can see why it would be enticing, especially to vulnerable people. We should be promoting self-acceptance and leading a fulfilling life instead of obsessing over something that is fleeting. Beauty fades, health deteriorates, but we're all worthy of acceptance. Our lives matter, and we're all special, and we can make an impact with our lives. However, the health and wellness industry doesn't want us to be happy with ourselves because that would impact their bottom line. Make no mistake, the health and wellness industry is big business. In November 2024, the Global Wellness Institute reported that it was globally worth $6.3 trillion, which surpasses Germany's GDP. And it's predicted to increase to $9 trillion by 2028. It currently represents over 6% of global GDP. People care what the mirror has to say because society has brainwashed us into believing that we're never good enough. Personal care and beauty on this chart is the largest category in the industry, valued at $1.2 trillion. It's followed by healthy eating, nutrition, and weight loss, valued at $1.09 trillion. The third biggest category is physical activity. And then you look at complementary alternative medicine and traditional medicine, which we all know is woo, and it's worth an estimated $553 billion, so more than $500 billion annually. While many in the pseudoscience realm complain about big pharma, the wellness industry has officially surpassed the pharmaceutical industry by a lot. Wellness is now a larger market than many global mega industries, including IT, sports, and pharmaceuticals. In spite of the rapid growth of the green and sustainability industries, the wellness market is now more than 30% larger than the green economy at $4.8 billion. The wellness market is now roughly 60% the size of all global health expenditures. Wellness has replaced fashion as a hot topic in journalism and is seen as a status symbol or a lifestyle, creating new trends and fads. Fake science and jargon get clicks and sell products, so much so that wellness has become the single most consumed content on the internet. That was a shocking stat for me to find. Consumers are bombarded with myths, misinformation, and pseudoscience. Science is being skewed by clickbait titles on dubious science topics based on low-quality studies, which often have been completed more for a catchy press release than for any genuine research purposes. Many of the studies are published in journals funded by the wellness industry. 40% of university health and medical press releases contain exaggerated health advice, and 33% overemphasized a causal connection between, a causal connection and an exaggerated inference, I had to add that, to humans based on animal research. 81% of news stories, respectively, contain that similar exaggeration, because often journalists lack the background and access to the experts in order to verify claims, leaving questionable claims to go unchecked. It's difficult for consumers to discern fact from fiction when there's so many misleading headlines and buried facts. Celebrity beauty and diet secrets have been sought after for ages. Products seek celebrity endorsements because they know a well-known face equates to better sales. Celebrities promote diets, supplements, workout gear, beauty products, even energy drinks and water. People aren't sure who to trust, so they may look to celebrities or so-called experts, but just because they're famous doesn't mean that they're reputable. Social media influencers and celebrity experts often propagate false research results, share bad or cherry-picked data that have unrealistic results, and some even invent their own ineffective products. A prime example of this is Dr. Mehmet Oz, who's a surgeon with a TV show, YouTube channel, and a huge following, who frequently pushes the latest unproven weight loss trends along with supplements and hormones that have not been supported by science. He calls himself, quote, a global advisor and stakeholder for the online supplement and wellness brand iHerb, end quote. He has a record of peddling baseless or wrong health advice and pushing Medicare Advantage, an alternative to the American government-run program that is administered by private health insurance companies. In 2022, Oz had a $26 million holding in ShareCare, a digital health company Oz co-founded, which became the exclusive in-home care supplement benefit program for 1.5 million Medicare Advantage enrollees. Dr. Oz promoted green coffee extract as the magic weight loss cure for every body type. He warned that GMO foods are unhealthy, touted umkalawabo, root extract, as a cure for the common cold, without mentioning that the evidence was weak and neglecting to mention any of the side effects. He also suggested that putting lavender soap under your bed sheets would put an end to restless leg syndrome. This is a cardiologist. Another great example is Dr. Joe Mercola, an osteopathic surgeon who stopped seeing patients in 2009. He became a wellness advocate who's made a name for himself and amassed a great wealth selling supplements for humans and pets through his online store. In 2017, his net worth was said to be in excess of $100 million, With his social media presence, website, podcast, YouTube channel, and books, Mercola is a key player in the wellness industry. His website claims to be, quote, a reliable source of health articles, optimal wellness products, medical news, and free natural newsletter from natural health expert Dr. Joseph Mercola, end quote. The doctor's site promotes homeopathy and warns the public about the evils of vaccines. Prior to the pandemic in 2019, an investigation by the Washington Post revealed that Mercola was a major funder of one of the anti-vaccine movements to the tune of $4 million, with $2.9 million specifically going to the National Vaccine Information Center, which, despite its misleading name, is one of the principal anti-vaccine organizations in the United States and was identified as a superspreader of COVID-19 misinformation on Facebook. In March 2021, the Center for Countering Digital Hate released a report titled The Disinformation Dozen, revealing that Mercola was one of a dozen people responsible for 2/3 of all the anti-vaccination content on Facebook and Twitter. It showed how a tiny group of determined anti-vaxxers was responsible for a tidal wave of disinformation. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Goopy Gwyneth Paltrow, who professes that women need to be listened to and take control of their health, which is true. But Paltrow has made a fortune promoting unscientific, unproven, potentially harmful therapies through the company she co-founded, Goop, which has become a multi-million-dollar brand. Nowadays, she's better known for her wellness and so-called clean beauty products than her acting. In 2024 at a Forbes event, Paltrow spoke about Goop, her newsletter turned e-commerce company. She didn't brag about the 9 figures that the brand has raised or its latest product release. Instead, she said she was proud Goop was still in business, which makes me believe that she doesn't buy into the products she endorses. In 2017, Goop marketed Body Vibes, which were wearable stickers that were claimed to, quote, rebalance the energy frequencies in our bodies, end quote. Also that year, she peddled conferences with the In Goop Health Summit, offering the promise of looking and feeling like Paltrow for the 4-figure ticket price. In 2020, she scored a deal with Netflix with a series called The Goop Lab. She also has a podcast and promotes detox diets, coffee enemas, vaginal weightlifting, and vaginal steaming. Health news and scientific discoveries have become a marketing-first approach to get media attention at the expense of good science. And even retracted articles continue to get traffic years after they've been identified as providing false information. An example of that is how the MMR vaccine causes autism. That's a myth that will not disappear, even though it was retracted in 2010. Andrew Wakefield falsified or completely fabricated the data, and it was proven to be an elaborate fraud by 2011. Despite Wakefield being discredited and the fraud being exposed, with the help of influencers and celebrities like Ron Schneider, Tony Braxton, Jessica Biel, and Jenny McCarthy, the myth has grown to include all vaccines now, and it stokes the conspiracy theorists to this day. For too long, women have been held to unrealistic beauty standards. The beauty industry starts selling anti-aging products to women in their 20s. Women's bodies are poorly understood as a result of less inclusion in research and education, and their physical pain is not taken seriously. Before 1993, women were rarely included in clinical trials. The FDA created a policy in 1977 to exclude women from phase 1 and 2 clinical trials as a result of the thalidomide backlash. Many companies in the health and wellness industry target women in their advertising. They know women have been hurt by the healthcare system. Women experience more medical gaslighting, and get misdiagnosed more often, even in life or death situations like heart attacks. And that does not mean that men are excluded from the wellness woo. You may have heard the terms incel and alpha male, and about the supposed war on masculinity that helps guys like Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson promote misogyny. Well, Professor Timothy Caulfield's 2024 documentary called Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger looked at men's health myths while exposing viewers to the inner workings of the manosphere. Macho men prove their manliness by bulking up their bodies, eating raw meat, slapping and sunning their testicles, even drinking their own urine as a way to combat the supposed attack on masculinity. The manosphere has testosterone turned up to 11, and the industry wants men to consume their products and adopt the manly lifestyle to avoid being seen as effeminate. This sounds ridiculous. However, it is so rampant that the misinformation about men's health is lowering their life expectancy. The gap in the USA is now 5.8 years between men and women, and American men live 3 to 5 years less than men in peer countries. The deception bleeds into all aspects of life, causing a decline in trusting science, which results in fewer men going to the doctor, higher rates of climate change denial, more vaccine hesitancy, and even an increase in feelings of disenfranchisement and powerlessness. The manosphere doesn't make men or society better. Instead, it leads to fear-mongering echo chambers. Men trapped in the manosphere may choose to eat a less healthy diet, are less likely to get help from doctors, they don't get good quality sleep, and they are less likely to use preventative methods like vaccines, seatbelts, or condoms. They're more likely to exhibit risky behaviors, have mental health issues, feel lonely, have poorer relationships, have worse sex, and exhibit an increased violence towards their partners. Men are facing the same issues women have for decades, where industries manufacture insecurities so that they can sell you the cures for the ails they created. No one wants to be unwell. Being sick is not fun. Going to the doctor is an ordeal for many people, sitting nervously on that crinkly paper, waiting to find out what's wrong with you, hoping the news isn't too bad. The side effects of medication are often not fun to deal with either. The health and wellness industry subtly reinforces what we've always been told: to eat a well-balanced diet and to be active. Who wouldn't rather do yoga on a beach instead of be in a hospital room? We may blame ourselves for our ill health because we weren't perfect with our eating and exercising in the past. And maybe there is a way, if we went to an extreme, where we could somehow atone for our mistakes and make up for all the times that we ate for pleasure instead of purpose. The possibility of a natural solution is so appealing. Even if you want to see a healthcare professional, not everyone has access to a doctor these days. And with supplements being sold in grocery stores and pharmacies, it's not unreasonable to have a person with stomach problems, for instance, seek help from an unproven supplement, while unknowingly, disease could be spreading throughout their body. This isn't an exaggeration either. In 2017, a study published, in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute showed that people who had cancer and used alternative medicine instead of conventional treatment had a greater risk of dying. This is underscored recently by the retelling of the Belle Gibson fake cancer and whole pantry scam, which occurred in 2015. If you haven't seen Apple Cider Vinegar on Netflix, that's what I'm talking about. It's not just the delay in getting real medical care that causes harm. These poorly regulated treatments cost a lot of money and can create harm by interacting with prescription medication, causing liver inflammation, heart arrhythmias, or even death. Many herbal supplements affect the enzyme systems that regulate how drugs move through the body, how they're absorbed, distributed, and eliminated. When these enzyme systems are disrupted, medications can become either dangerously ineffective or toxic because they accelerate the breakdown of medications, making them ineffective, or they change how quickly or slowly medications are eliminated, which can create unpredictable and dangerous drug levels in the blood. St. John's wort is the supplement that I like to complain about the most because it has the most documented interactions with prescription drugs. For those of you who haven't heard me speak before, there are 595 drugs known to interact with St. John's wort across 20 different drug classifications, including antibiotics, antidepressants, birth control, blood thinners, anesthetic, and certain pain medications like Tylenol. But you won't find anything on the package that warns you about this. Most people have heard of ginkgo biloba, ginseng, green tea, and protein powders. So let's take a moment to look at them just a little bit more closely. Ginkgo is used to treat a wide range of ailments, including heart disease, dementia, mental difficulties, and sexual dysfunction. Yet, studies have not proven it effective for any of these conditions or ailments. It interacts with nearly 300 medications, including anticoagulants and antiplatelet drugs like warfarin, heparin, and ibuprofen. It could increase your risk of bleeding, may decrease the effectiveness of seizure medications, antidepressants, diabetes medications, and it can reduce the effectiveness of certain statins, as well as interacting with other herbs. Studies have shown carcinogenic effects on the thyroid and the liver. Ginseng is purported to boost your immunity, brain function, and energy levels. There are over 100 prescription medications that interact with ginseng. Some may be very important, like blood thinners, type 2 diabetes medications, antidepressants, immunosuppressants, and cancer treatments. There's a long list of side effects that are serious that, again, are not listed on the packaging. Green tea and green tea extract claims to improve cardiovascular health, improve your cognitive function, promote weight loss, and regulate blood sugar levels. It supports digestive health and protects against certain types of cancer. But in reality, green tea and green tea extract can cause stomach issues, headaches, sleep issues. It hinders calcium and iron absorption, so it may cause anemia and iron deficiency. And it's linked to liver disease. In January of this year, 2025, a report was published that revealed nearly half the protein powders in the US market exceeded the safety limits for toxic metals. People use these powders hoping to improve their health, lose weight, gain muscle. It's a market that in 2023 was valued at $9.69 billion US dollars. 83% of the products on the market were tested, and 47% exceeded the safety thresholds. 21% were over the limit that requires warnings for products containing chemicals linked to cancer, birth defects, or reproductive harm. They did not have those. Plant-based powders had higher levels of metal than whey powders. Chocolate-flavored ones had the highest levels of heavy metals, 4 times more than vanilla. And organic powders had on average 3 times the lead and double the cadmium than whey. But these findings don't often make the news because they aren't exciting to talk about. Instead, the news is filled with fluff pieces, especially on the morning and midday news programs that are meant to be health related, but in fact they're pushing pseudoscience around ways to stay healthy. We often see claims that a product can boost, improve, or strengthen your immune health. But how would they prove that? How can this claim be tested? Where are the peer-reviewed double-blind studies? There aren't any. I'd like to read you an excerpt from an article published in the Harvard Medical Journal from February 2021, because I find it not only incredibly informative, but very powerful. Just need a sip. Sorry. Quote, "The idea of boosting your immunity is enticing, but the ability to do so has proved elusive for several reasons. The immune system is precisely that, a system, not a single entity. To function well, it requires balance and harmony. There is still so much that researchers don't know about the intricacies and interconnectedness of the immune response. For now, there are no scientifically proven direct links between lifestyle and enhanced immune function. Many products on store shelves claim to boost or support immunity, but the concept of boosting immunity actually makes little sense scientifically. In fact, boosting the number of cells in your body, immune cells or other, is not necessarily a good thing. Attempting to boost the cells of your immune system is especially complicated because there are so many different kinds of cells in the immune system that respond to so many different microbes in so many different ways. Which cells should you boost, and to what number? So far, scientists do not know the answer. What is known is that the body is continually generating immune cells. No one knows how many cells or what the best mix of cells the immune system needs to function at its optimum level. Walk into a store and you will find bottles of pills and herbal preparations that claim to support immunity or otherwise boost the health of your immune system. Although some preparations have been found to alter some components of immune function, thus far there is no evidence that they actually bolster immunity to the point where you are better protected against infection and disease. Demonstrating whether a herb or any substance for that matter can enhance your immunity is, as yet, a highly complicated matter. Scientists don't know, for example, whether a herb that seems to raise the level of antibodies in the blood is actually doing anything beneficial for overall immunity." End quote. GMOs, clean eating, biohacking, supplements, intermittent fasting, red light therapy, anti-aging, cell regeneration, quantum, just about anything, are all big empty promises that use sciencey language to lure people into believing that there is evidence to back their claims when there isn't any. The wellness industry leans on budding scientific research and science language, think microbiomes and gut health, to mislead consumers when there's no evidence to support their claims. In fact, many of the claims are intentionally so ambiguous that they cannot be tested. There aren't many reliable outlets for consumers to reference, and even the Mayo Clinic and the World Health Organization include some alternative therapies in their list of treatments, which is really disappointing. The media constantly feeds us ideas about what we should be doing in order to live a longer life and be healthier. Society is obsessed with health. Consumers are made to feel guilty if we aren't doing everything possible to extend our lifespan. A study published in 2020 reviewed the health and longevity of over 8,100 former U.S. Olympians from 1912 to 2012. It concluded that there was no difference when it came to nervous system disorders and mental health when comparing Olympic athletes to their peers, and that even the healthiest, most fit people only lived on average 5 years longer when compared to the general population. So despite what anyone claims when they're selling their health and wellness products or lifestyles, it is totally unrealistic to expect the average person to have better results than Olympians when trying to prolong their life. There is no magic pill that will help you live a much better and longer life. You need good genes, a decent socioeconomic background, and a heck of a lot of luck. I'd like to read you a short passage from a newspaper article simply titled Health Foods. Quote, "The day is cold and dark and dreary indeed, when one does not find in an exchange a fresh theory upon the proper kind of food for human consumption, together with authoritative directions for its proper preparation. The amount of unadulterated ignorance displayed by some of these writers would be more startling to the careful reader, were he competent to pronounce judgment with certainty. But the fact is, the world moves so slowly in the matters of diet and medicine that there is today not one authority on either, whose words are believed by a very large constituency." End quote. The article ends with, quote, "So long as there is a world with people in it, this must remain a fixed fact, so that until the millennium arrives, people will eat what they please, dietetic theorists to the contrary notwithstanding." End quote. This article was published in the Riverina Recorder on the 16th of February, 1887, which goes to show that not much has changed in nearly 140 years. I do love that the writer had high hopes for the future, though. I'm really sad that by the millennium, we didn't step up to the plate for him. We have come a long way, though. However, society needs to stop fixating on being healthy. We must shift the focus from quick fixes and pseudoscience to self-acceptance and balanced living. While being healthy is a luxury that not everyone can attain, happiness, contentment, and inner peace are within everyone's grasp, provided they have the right support. We need to expose the misinformation and myths while also using clear and precise language. The term wellness means something different to everyone, and healthy is being used as a catch-all in place of well-balanced. I recommend trying to use words other than healthy in your day-to-day life. At first, this will be incredibly difficult because it's deeply ingrained in our vernacular. But being conscientious of your words will help you from unintentionally excluding people. You can't buy health at a store. Wellness doesn't come in the form of an unproven potion or in a green smoothie. So what can you do? Well, here are some tips for living a well-balanced life. Don't obsess about health. If you cannot stray away from your normal eating and exercise routine without feeling guilty or saying it's a cheat day, you do not have a healthy relationship with food and your body. Don't listen to celebrities or experts who speak outside their area of expertise. Do not engage in dieting. No fad diet has ever been proven to be sustainable for 5 years or longer. Do the boring things that we all know are good for us. Optimize your sleep, avoid drinking too much alcohol, don't smoke, move your body for hopefully 150 minutes a week, if possible. Cultivate a community and make your relationships a priority to stave off loneliness. Be mindful. Don't neglect your mental health. And use sensible, preventable strategies like helmets, seatbelts, and vaccines. The best time to start was when you were young. The next best time is today. I would like to acknowledge Dr. Timothy Caulfield, Rena Raphael, and Nick Tillier, whose SciCon talks this past fall helped inspire part of this presentation. And I would encourage you all to support science communicators and share the knowledge that you glean from them. I've listed some books here if you'd like to do some further research. Do you have any questions?
Sure, I'll kick off with questions.
So who's raising the hand for the first question? Okay, Lois,
Oh.
please.
Or was she just?
That's a clap, not a hand up.
Oh, sorry. So I have everybody very small on my
Small
screen.
screen.
So Adrian, yeah, please.
Oh, I first? Ooh. Well, two things. Well, a couple things. Yay, Keanu. Like to see him in there.
I had
And
to. I
and was
had
that
to.
was that your artwork at the beginning?
It
That
is,
was
yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I was wondering if some people missed, because I almost did, and so that's why I wanted to bring it up, how you had disease written in that artwork.
Hmm.
Did anybody miss it? Because I almost did, but I thought that was brilliant and I really
It's
liked
supposed to
that.
be the invisible disease,
The
right?
invisible
So I
disease.
wasn't sure if it would show up on the tiny Zoom screen or not, but I'm
Yeah, no,
glad you
I did
caught it.
see it, but I did get it, but I almost missed it. And I just wanted to bring that up in case somebody had. And I guess my question is, do you think people in our skeptic and atheist community feel more lonely? Because you brought up loneliness a few times.
I don't know if they feel more lonely, but it is quite possible because a lot of believers do have the community of a
Mm.
church or a mosque or something like that. The loneliness epidemic has been in the news a lot, and I think
Oh,
that
did she
it
did
is.
she just
Oh,
did she blank out for everybody else, or was it just me?
am I
No,
blank for
I'm
everybody?
okay. Yeah, I'm
You're
here.
You're
I
okay.
fine
stopped
now,
hearing.
but there were about 5 seconds where
We couldn't hear
you
you what you
were
said.
muted.
The gods were intervening when I was talking about religious people. Look at me getting smoted. I do think it is a real possibility that we are feeling more lonely because we don't have the community that a
Hard to
lot of
find.
religious folks
Mhm.
do. Yeah.
Thank you. Great talk.
Thanks,
Leslie?
Adrian.
Yeah.
Hi, Kat. I want to know how you strike the balance between, not having McDonald's every day. As Michael Pollan said, the best diet is eat food, not too much, mostly plants, uh, and you even recommended moving for 2.5 hours every week and staying fit. I mean, is it has been shown to be not just good for the lifespan, but also for your health span. So how do you sort of discounting the woo folks, like the goop and the supplements and so on? How do you balance wanting to maximize your health not only today but as you age and become, because the food decisions and the fitness decisions that you make in your 30s, 40s, and 50s play out into your 60s, 70s, and 80s, should be fortunate enough to get to that point. So any advice on the balance between just relaxing and enjoying life, which is also good, right,
Yes.
and actually paying attention to the things that are good for you today and good for you tomorrow without getting so stressed over it, it actually ends up being a net negative.
Excellent question. And I come from the school of everything in moderation, including moderation. No. uh, but I mean, you do have to be smart. You can't eat junk. I, dealing with several chronic diseases, I have to, think about my health every single day. I go out for walks usually. And for me, food, I equate it to like fueling my Ferrari. Okay. If you put garbage in the Ferrari, you're not going to go very far. But that doesn't mean that if you're celebrating something, you can't have a cocktail or you can't have a piece of cake. You just have to do everything in moderation. You don't want to fill your body with garbage because it's not good for you. You want a well-balanced diet. You want to have lots of good plant-based foods and good protein in there. Don't be afraid of carbs. Carbs are okay. you know, but no, like if you're going out for a meal, it's okay to ignore the calories that night because the rest of the month, week, year, you are active. You are doing all the right, good, boring things to live a healthy life. So, you know what? You can have that cake, you can have that cocktail. Don't do it every night. But don't feel that you have to restrict yourself so much that you get into disordered eating. As somebody who used to have two eating disorders, I can, it's a real nice slippery slope that you can fall down very easily. And you don't want to obsess over it. Like I say, if you can't change what you're eating and just, say yes to that, cinnamon bun or whatever it is, you don't have a healthy balance with food and your body. You have to know, okay, this isn't cheating. I'm just eating for pleasure, and that's okay to do once in a while.
That's so. As philosopher Bobby McFerrin said, "Don't worry, be happy."
Don't give me that earworm.
Too late.
Yep, too late.
Thank you, Kat.
So, Jim, I think you were the first before Bonnie. You're
Bonnie
mute.
got raise your hand ahead of me, but I guess I could go if she doesn't want to. Bonnie?
Yeah. It doesn't matter. I can. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
it inverted for me. I don't know why. Jim was first, and
Yeah.
then Bonnie
pardon?
came first.
But
Yeah, you
do you
can
want
be
me to
Bonnie,
go
no
here?
problem.
Okay.
Yeah,
You want me to go then?
yeah.
Go for it, ladies first.
Okay. Okay. So, that was a good presentation, Kat. I've seen a lot of what you're saying, and I have known a lot of people who have gone down that road. Some of it I might, for myself, I would. How can I put this? I'm not quite as strict as what you were saying with some things, but I think overall you have to be really careful. The stuff I see on TV advertised now is just amazing. I also am glad that you have emphasized balanced living, because to me, that's, I think, where we can really optimize our health. And um, also the mind-body effect, I think, is very, very important. You mentioned mindfulness, and I think that's one thing that people do not know enough about. So,
Absolutely.
and that does affect your health. I mean, it affects all of your systems. And we don't know how to relax. We don't know how to have fun. We don't know how to even think properly in a lot of cases. And I think that can really, really affect your health. So while these other things are, can be bad, too much alcohol, too much fat, too much this, that, and the other, mind body is very important.
Too
And
much
I don't
stress
think
is also very bad.
exactly, but we have to learn how to manage that stress. But yeah, even what they came out with a few years ago regarding alcohol, like for a long time it was saying, I think one glass of wine or one drink per day for female was okay, or was it two? I forget what it was. And now they cut it back to one per week. Well, I'm sorry, I don't buy that. I enjoy my wine. I don't overindulge. At first I did. When I heard that, I thought, oh my God, I better really watch this. And I thought about it and I thought, you know what? It really, it's such an enjoyable thing for my husband and I when we do sit down and have a glass of wine. How can that be bad for me?
Now, if you're
So
doing a bottle of wine a day, that could be
yeah,
bad for you.
that could be bad
But,
for you. But so
like
it's the stuff,
moderation. It's key.
modern balance is so, so important.
Yeah,
And
if you get
um,
extreme pleasure from it, and if it's
yeah,
relaxing you and it's bonding time with your partner, that's all good stuff.
exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
you don't want to become an alcoholic, clearly, so moderation is definitely key. But that's why I say have the cake. You relax with yourself, be kind to yourself, fuel the Ferrari. Now, when you're having a glass of wine with your husband and you're relaxing, that you're fueling yourself, right?
Absolutely.
You're
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's regenerating you and it's relaxing you and it's a good thing, right?
Well, yeah, because it's like I say, mind body, it's not just body, it's the whole system. You can't
It is.
separate mind from body. And that is, like, to me, is something I've been living with and by for quite some time. And it's made quite a difference in my life. So
And they
thank
do
you
change
very,
it. Like Adrian was saying, it was two glasses of wine originally,
yeah,
and now like and give it 10 years and they're going to say it's something
They're
different.
going to change it again. Yeah.
So do what's best for you, knowing what a well-balanced life is,
Well, I think you have to get to
right?
know your own body and your own self.
Definitely.
If you're on a journey, or well, I have been to get to know who I am for a long time, you will see how you react. You will see how you respond to different foods, to alcohol, to different circumstances or whatever. And it's a big picture, but it's balance in the end. And it's trusting and it's experimenting as well, safely.
Absolutely. And recognizing what brings you joy and embracing it, because especially in these times, in this year,
Oh,
joy is very hard to come by.
yeah.
My joy comes in the
Exactly.
form of potatoes.
Mhm.
Don't take away my
Okay.
potatoes.
Yeah.
Just like
Thank you for
Lois, it's almost ice cream time.
yes.
Getting
Thank you
there.
for your presentation.
You find the joy and you go for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bonnie. Jim?
Thank you.
Yeah, right. So have that cake and don't forget to eat it too. Right. Yes.
Only if it
But
makes you happy.
right. But one thing about the drug interactions now was there was something about, I'm not sure whether it was grapefruit or pineapple. It had some weird thing, and every so yeah. So
Grapefruit and antihistamines
oh
is a
Ooh.
really well-known one. Like don't
right.
don't be taking your Claritin or your Sudafed with grapefruit juice because it has a bad interaction. And that is on the little readout in the pamphlet if you actually open it up.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
people don't
Oh,
read those things. I always read those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. So the grapefruit, uh, is the juice more a more intense effect than the eating grapefruit, or do you know?
I think it's the same.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't want to eat grapefruit while you've taken that, but I think how they found out was people were actually taking the pills with the juice instead of
Mm.
just using water,
Yeah.
and that's how they found some of the bad interactions happening.
And let's see. Now the other thing. Now I remember your in your talk at the Weekend Reason, and also in your interview with Leslie, which I got around to hearing fairly recently. Now, now you mentioned your bad experience with getting the herbs, and would there have been legal problems or something if you'd mentioned the name of the guy?
No, I'll absolutely give you the name of the guy. His
Yeah.
name was Ben Lee. His shop
Uh-huh.
was called BioChi. The herb I was
Yeah.
taking was asthma one.
Yeah.
If anybody has a problem with that, they can come at me.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But Ben Lee's dead now anyway, so.
Oh, okay. Okay. I guess. Well, shortly after you'd had the problems and realized that it was his, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I spoke
See,
to a lawyer to see if I could sue him. And
yeah,
because there weren't any regulations in place, I could only sue the federal government.
yeah, okay, yeah. So just think. I don't know. It might have saved somebody some people some grief if it had become public that he was so careless.
Well, and that's why I did get written up in the Edmonton Journal twice. That's
Yeah,
why I started speaking to pharmacy classes. I put myself out there and I was not afraid to say the
yeah,
name of the shop,
yeah,
the name of the guy, the name of the herb. I
yeah.
and I'm like, bring it on. You want to take me to court over this? Let's blow this up. Let's get even more publicity. Yeah, no, I did everything I could to get it out there to warn other people
Yeah,
because I never want anyone to have to go through what I've gone through.
yeah, yeah. Just that I couldn't recall you mentioning the name in those two talks. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, at We Can Reason, I actually put up his obituary
Oh, okay.
because
Okay.
it was while I was writing that talk, I Googled him. I'm like, what's he up to? Oh, he's dead. Look at that.
So it's more like what he's down to.
Right? Well, he did
Okay.
get he did get cremated, so I'm not sure what ended up happening.
Okay.
Okay, Lois.
Can I tell a funny story that's related to this?
Yes.
Of
Well,
course.
many years ago, I had knee surgery, and so I was in the hospital for like 4 days, and this one nurse took care of me every day. And I was, after a surgery, and I was grossly overweight at that time, and I felt horrible. Well, so when it was time for me to leave, she was wheeling me out, looking at my paperwork. And she looked and she said, I never would have dreamed you were like this old. How did you do it? And I said, well, I did an excellent job of choosing the right parents. And I really, your genetics has an awful lot to do with it.
It really
And
does.
so I just consider myself lucky. But there are many,
But you
many
also do
things.
a lot of good things.
Well, I did lose a ton of weight, and that I think saved my life. But yeah, moderation, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I try to follow. Except I can't now because without enough oxygen, I can't do anything. But I
I
consider
get that.
myself lucky to be alive and lucky that oxygen is available.
Right? I've been struggling a bit tonight. I do apologize for my little bit of coughing because one of my rare diseases is a tracheal issue. And right now my airway is very, very small. So I'm trying not to breathe too loud. But yeah, breathing is good. Oxygen is fun. I
It's
highly recommend it.
very good,
Take that
yes.
all you can in that, really. Like,
Yeah.
I've got it all the time.
So many people are addicted to oxygen.
right? Even though rumor has it could be toxic.
It could. It actually could.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if it
Too
comes
much of
with
anything.
hydrogen, right?
No, literally, too much oxygen is bad.
Yes.
So is
Literally.
too much water.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yes, that deadly chemical dihydrogen monoxide.
Yeah, that's terrible. Bonnie?
Jump in, Bonnie. What did you need to say?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you what's happened to Dr. Mercola? Where is he at now?
He's still making billions of dollars.
Still.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he puts out a
So,
monthly newsletter. He's got a whole crack team. He sells supplements to humans and their pets.
Mhm.
It's vile that man is still allowed to do what he's doing, but yeah, he's still in big business.
So he
well,
uh,
now we have
crack team
RFK
selling
Jr.
crack.
out there too.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna get worse.
Yep.
Adrian?
Just to go on the Joel Mercola now, I may be mixing them up because I sometimes mix up, and Kat, how bad I am with names. But I believe it's him. If it's not him, it's a different grifter who makes millions of dollars, who
There's
is
so many
actually
of them.
exactly, who's actually being taken by a psychic right now.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's kind of coming, karma coming back if you believe, we don't believe in karma, but you know what I'm saying.
But it's nice to
I
see.
know, I'll have to look up and see which one it was, but
I'm gonna make a note of that.
yeah,
Taken by a psychic?
yeah. So if I've got the right guide, if it's not him, as I say, it'll be one of the other prominent grifters. But he apparently fired his sister, who was like the president of the company, because he was listening to this psychic who was telling him to do this because he saw in his visions that this was the best course of action, and he was paying this guy a lot of money. And his family was very concerned about what was happening. Oh, and he's going to now write, if I've got the right guy, I'll look it up after I talk. I should have done it beforehand. That was really kind of bass-ackwards of me, but he wants to write a book about the wellness because this psychic is channeling somebody to tell Mercola, or maybe Mercola is channeling, and he's going to write some books, as they do.
If we didn't have ethics, we could be so rich.
I know.
So rich.
I was just thinking that I've joined the wrong community with this. The skeptics do not seem to have the same amount of money as
It
these
doesn't
other
pay well
folks.
at all.
I don't know, but we're pharmagriff shills, and we're government shills.
Yeah.
We're all those things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Where's
Big
it?
Pharma is paying me for this.
Yeah.
Absolutely no
Yeah.
money.
Where's your check
Yeah.
from Big Pharma?
So it does look like I got the right guy.
Mm.
Yeah. So the internet's favorite supplement titan appears to be taking cues from a psychic. Wow. So there you go.
Yeah, Brent, you sent a link to us on the chat. Market trend analysis.
Perfect. Thank you, Brent.
Yeah.
So the title or the heading of the article is Dr. Mercola consulted with psychic before axing top executives.
Maybe that's what Musk is doing.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Can I be his psychic?
Yes, please do.
Because I will talk some sense into him.
So, Kat, do you want to ask yourself a question?
Oh no, so I was talking with my hands and it just automatically put it up. Sorry, I'll take that.
Any more questions, guys? No?
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes.
Back to your mention, Adrian and Kat, of loneliness. And recently, I have seen at least a half a dozen either articles or podcasts where they mention that people need more religion. Well, you know how that hits me. And I'm actually currently working on a script for a video about that very thing. And my whole emphasis is the one thing we need the most is each other.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need a community of hopefully critical thinkers, science-based promoting people. We don't need more religion. Religion has not done anything good in the last few thousand years.
Yeah.
If
But
there's
people
any,
can do good.
Yeah, if anything good is done by religion, the same thing can be done without it better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's the same playbook as ever. Here, we have identified a genuine problem in society. Answer, more religion.
And some supplements.
Specifically, my religion.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Exactly, yeah.
The
And
only
we'll
right
take a
one.
tithe of 10% of everything you earn. Because
Absolutely.
it'll be good for you.
It will generate more money for
Yeah,
you,
for whom?
supposedly.
Hey, I when I was in graduate school, living on a stipend, I hate to say this, I sent 10% to the church. And I'm still just sorry, I was there once. I get a little overheated about it.
Yeah.
I want my
know
money
better
back.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, understandable.
But I
Okay.
lost
Yeah,
a
we all
job I
look back
loved.
and go, what were we thinking?
Oh, yes. That is one of the singular most common things I've noticed about, former believers is being embarrassed that we could have believed that.
Like Seth Andrews' book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Christianity made me talk like an idiot. I've got it right there. But the same with me and my supplements, right? Like I did alternative medicine. What was I thinking? How did I waste all that money to destroy my health? How did I believe that? Hindsight is 2020.
We have Stone Age brains. That's the reason.
Yes, that's the reason.
Mine's more
And they
stone than
didn't-
age sometimes.
Well, they brought us here, but now we need to try and improve
did.
them because, they don't work always in our favor.
Well, they don't work in the environment that we live in now.
Yeah.
They worked beautifully back on the savannas. Very well adapted.
Then con men got involved.
Man.
Yes.
And everything went to crap. We got religions, we got supplements, we got woo.
I love
We
that
got the
quote you gave from the
manosphere.
1800s to show
Yeah.
how much things haven't changed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I guess there's the thing I saw pointed out that our brains are designed to work in groups of not much more than 100.
Yeah, I think it was
150 max.
150,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, and then when you get higher than that, uh, it's easier for the con men to go on to a new mark,
Mhm.
so that we probably the number of successful con artists has probably increased since the first cities.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
first city, I was just looking this up, that anthropologists consider a city was in Turkey, and it was like 6,000 years ago.
It's
Or
Göbekli
no,
Temple,
that was
something.
before that.
Yeah, okay.
I can't Chattahuya or something like that in Turkey. But anyway, it only had like 10,000 people,
Yeah.
but that was
But
the first city.
but that's
And
but
so
that's what,
So, Vincent, you have a question?
Not really a question. It's more of my mom. She again got suckered into an internet thing of eye stuff. Like you put it underneath your eyes, and it's supposed to remove the bags from your eyes.
And it probably
And,
cost a fortune.
oh, oh yeah, it was super expensive, and she paid for it.
Yeah.
She paid for the cheaper bottle, I think, of it, which was $60.
oh, gee.
And then somehow she got suckered into paying a monthly thing for it for $170 and $120 per month. And she didn't know what she was doing.
Yeah, it's too bad.
And I finally told her, I said, don't click on anything on the internet. Don't get anything from the internet. Nothing. Don't get anything. Don't do any
yeah.
research. Don't do anything because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, you get suckered in, and she makes this
And
spontaneous decision.
finally, yeah, and I said you get the same garbage from the pharmacies in the store, and they're way cheaper than
Yep.
getting it.
Yep,
And
that's very true.
Exactly.
They have some good brands in the pharmacies. Yeah, good
yes,
advice,
and
Vincent.
But to get rid
finally she's listened, and
No,
she
good.
finally is like, she won't go on the internet anymore and look for any of that garbage.
But wouldn't it
Good
be
for
great if
you,
she could just
Vincent.
accept herself and the bags under her eyes?
That would be nice too.
You know, like,
Point cap.
Finally,
Yeah.
well,
it's
I've
like,
been finally trying to get a home care for her, and she's finally accepted home care.
Oh,
good.
good.
Oh,
Now
Good.
she's getting home care. It takes a lot of pressure off of me, and she's finally getting it. Finally,
that's
it
good.
just
Okay.
took a while, like. Sorry, Kat, I interrupted you. What you were gonna
oh
say
no, I
something?
was just saying it would be great if she could just accept herself with the
Yeah,
bags under her eyes.
Well, if you want
yes,
to get rid of the bags, just use preparation H.
yeah,
It's true.
It's right. It's true.
yeah.
Bonnie, you have a question?
Yeah, I was going to say all of this information and disinformation about supplements, etc. What about all the crap that's in the food that we eat every day that is apparently okay? I mean, not much is being done about that.
Well, the food we eat, especially in Canada, is regulated. So any sort of pesticides or anything with respect to like the fruit that's grown or the vegetables, all that is regulated and tested to make sure that it's safe. Because let's face the world is made up of chemicals. Everything in the world is a chemical,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
right?
I mean, even when they get into things like saying certain products are organic and whatnot, from what I've read, that doesn't make a lot of difference in the end. And how can you prove that something is really organic?
Right.
But there's people I know that will buy nothing but organic because they say it affects them, etc. It's a real racket.
Well, like I can tell the difference, and I've done a taste test with people. Free range eggs do taste much better. Happy chickens lay better eggs.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But honestly, like an organic tomato versus an ugly looking tomato versus a pretty tomato, they're all the same.
Yeah.
I gotta stop talking with my hands, or it's gonna put my hand.
Except for the price tags, right? So
exactly.
Right. Good point. Yeah.
Jim?
Kat, you mentioned something about heavy metals in the organic herbs or something like that.
Protein powder. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, protein powder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess pretty much if you get farther along the periodic table than iron, it starts to get into stuff that's probably
Not good for you.
pretty likely to be bad for you if you get large
and
amounts.
when you're taking these protein powders for weight loss or to build muscle or whatever, you don't expect them to have things like lead and cadmium in them. And yet they do.
Why
Now,
do
if
they?
it was silver and gold, maybe.
Yeah. Also, almost anything that you eat, even lousy diets, it's next to impossible to not get enough protein.
Yeah.
We don't need that much protein. Protein doesn't build muscle. Exercise builds muscle because almost anything you eat is going to have enough protein.
Well, just
Why do
like
they put the metals in powders.
the 8 glasses of water a day is a myth. Because you get most of the hydration you need from the food that you're eating.
Yeah.
You know why they add the metals into the wheat powder and stuff?
I think it's just that they're using really bad ingredients going in. I don't think they're intentionally adding extra to it. It could be from the soil that they're grown in. It could be the pesticides and herbicides that are used on products that end up going into the protein powders. But yeah, just about 50% of the protein powders on the market have got way too much heavy metal in them.
And don't they use like a copper compound as a pesticide on organic crops?
Yeah,
so
some
maybe
do.
that's where, I'm just hypothesizing. I don't really know if that's the case.
Like
That's what's contributing
people put copper sheathing on ships to keep the barnacles from because the copper poisoned the barnacles.
Mhm.
And now my understanding is that if you some greens or something like if you some vegetable sources of protein don't have all the essential amino acids, but if you mix them properly, you can get the proper get all the essentials.
Mhm.
Something like that. Maybe somebody here knows more details.
It's all about the balance. And like if for like vegan or vegetarian diets, you want to make sure that you have legumes and not just leafy greens. Because if you just stick with kale, first of all, you're going to be miserable.
And your jaw will hurt.
Truth fact, nobody really likes kale. Just putting that right out there.
Kale's you.
But you have to have a balance. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to eat nothing but carrots for the rest of my life."
It'll turn
You
orange.
won't be healthy. I mean, you're eating a good, nutritious food, but it doesn't have everything you need in it. You have to go for the balance, right? Because healthy doesn't mean well balanced.
When I lost all that weight, I remember I went to the optometrist afterwards. He says, "What did you leave out?" And I said, "Nothing." He said, "How did you do it?" And I said, "Balanced, less of everything and balanced, and starved, but otherwise." But really,
But
it was
there was these twins who were anorexic, like severely anorexic, like weighing under 80 pounds anorexic, and they lived off of coffee and Kit Kats.
Oh, my favorite.
Oh,
Oh,
My favorite too. I like Kit Kats.
But they were super thin.
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
Mhm.
Just because you're skinny doesn't mean you're healthy. You need the
Right.
well balance. You have
exactly.
to look at your life in, I would say holistically, but that just has an ick word to
Oh,
me
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
This ick, I know it technically doesn't mean it, but it sounds too wooey.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or just natural starts to have
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh, for
yeah.
sure.
and wellness and
Mhm.
Same
Yeah.
with organic. I mean, I remember leaving university and taking organic chemistry in university, and then all of a sudden there was this organic movement. I was very confused, and I still, now it's hard for me to equate that to chemistry and to science because it was co-opted by others,
Food.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
well,
Yeah, I also remember when the first time I took a biochemistry course, which was longer ago than I will admit. The first thing coming out of that was the first thing I thought was, you don't mess with those hormones. You mess up with one, they mess up another.
Mhm.
And everything in the body is so incredibly balanced. I mean, we have an incredibly balanced system to start with. And if we just keep up with that concept, I mean, our bodies do an amazing job.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah. When somebody goes on a cleanse, I want to say, "Oh, is there something wrong with your kidneys? Problem with your liver? You know,
That's what I do say.
good for you."
I'm like, what's wrong with your liver and kidneys?
Well, and
Uh-huh.
besides that, going
Or
through the cleanse, oh, no, thank you.
Oof.
I also
gee,
ask, what toxins is it ridding you of?
Mhm. Oh, yeah. And
Exactly.
they can't
Yeah.
Because
answer,
they
can
don't
they? Have
know.
they ever answered?
Right.
Yeah.
well, gee,
Yeah.
kind of, sort of like a cleanse, except actually recommended is I recently had a colonoscopy to check for stuff, and for
Yeah,
several
you got
days
cleansed.
before, yeah, I had to avoid high fiber food and stuff so that uh, and gee, and I'd been trying to go for high fiber stuff for quite a while because I had the impression that it's healthier for me. I, I think that's
Mhm.
still true. It's just
Yes.
for the purpose of the colonoscopy.
Mhm.
Yes,
Oh,
nothing. Turned out they find that it was all clear.
News.
Good,
Yes.
good.
one thing, Kat, that I noticed that I really like is your presentation of things that interacted with medications, because I think that's one thing that is overlooked
Mhm.
when people talk about whatever, um, because people don't realize it, they don't understand it, and I think that is critical and needs more emphasis. And I thank you for the information you gave us.
Mhm.
Well, especially when it's things like as basic as Tylenol,
Mhm.
as important as birth control, or
Yes.
anesthetic.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
these are critical things that should be warned about,
Yeah.
but aren't. And people don't know. And that's why when you go to the hospital, they're like, what are you taking? Now,
Yeah.
what happens if you go to the hospital and you're unconscious because you've been in a car accident? And
Right.
you
Yeah.
Yeah.
can't tell them these things.
And it's not on
Yeah.
your file because the doctor doesn't prescribe it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It can have severe consequences. And people think, oh, I'm being healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Really, you're not. You have to just
Exactly.
focus on your overall well-being and quit obsessing over, oh, I have to do, oh, I have to do.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I even heard it on the news today. They were talking about, oh, with all these, viruses that are going around, you have to stay healthy. You have to boost your immune system. And I'm like, you're supposed to be a journalist.
Yeah. Well, isn't the only true way to boost your immune system is to get vaccinated, which is kind of against what a lot of these wellness people are starting to move away from?
Yeah.
Well, and that doesn't
Mhm.
boost your immune system, but it builds immunity to
Mhm.
that virus, right? Like it doesn't
Mhm.
boost your immunity against all diseases,
No.
but you build a resistance to
Yep.
that.
Yeah. And boosting your immune system could make your immune system work harder in an allergy or an autoimmune disease.
I was just gonna say you can end up having an
Yeah,
autoimmune issue.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Yes, with the measles outbreak in Texas and Arizona. On the news today, one child died of the measles today.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow. Makes me so
It's
angry.
Yeah.
bad in Australia too.
yeah.
I remember when I was a student teacher, I taught, this is like you, Lois, I'm going to say it's too far back. I'm not going to admit anything as to how long ago that was. It was a long time ago. And I taught a student who was legally deaf, but could hear if like I wore a microphone that would amplify my voice in their ears. How did they lose their hearing? They got the measles and then they got the encephalitis that goes along with it. And that caused them to lose their hearing. And,
Oh,
I
Yeah.
don't
That,
know if, go ahead.
that ought to be illegally deaf.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Now, in that case, I don't know if, there are cases where the vaccine doesn't work. I don't know if the kid was
mhm,
vaccinated. I don't know anything about the
mhm.
background of the kid other than that the cause
Yeah,
of the deafness was from the measles.
The child who died today was not vaccinated
right.
Mhm.
And there's quite a few in the hospital, and none of them have been vaccinated.
because chemicals.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, but also there are some children that have compromised immune system and can't have vaccines,
Yeah,
Mhm.
which is why
and
they
those are the
rely on herd
ones.
immunity.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the people that I worry about for sure.
Yeah.
They're afraid of autism, that the kids will get
Yes.
autism.
Of many things, if you listen to, speaking of, you should, do you guys know Coleman Watts and his I was gonna say think it through, Cat.
Think this through.
This through video series. He just recently did a bit about RFK Jr. and I helped him do some of the research. And he says that vaccines not only cause autism, but diabetes, Crohn's disease. Uh, I mean, he has a whole list of things that he says that vaccines cause. And this is, I think, it was an interview in 2023 or somewhere around then. But no, he goes in front of Congress and says that he's
Oh.
not anti-vax.
Oh.
Anyway, I highly
He's
recommend watching that.
he said that his children were vaccinated, but if he could go back in time, he would not vaccinate them.
Mhm,
Oh.
mhm.
What was that video or show you mentioned?
Think This Through is
I'll
his
put the
YouTube
Okay.
link.
channel,
I'll put it in the link.
Okay.
and Coleman Watts is his name. If you've not seen Adrian's wonderful Coleman Watts video collab on the Winchester Mystery House, I can
Oh.
highly recommend that one as well.
Thank you, Kat.
Oh yeah, that's Coleman Watts that he was on the
RFR?
yeah,
Well,
no,
it's official. RF.
Sorry.
him and his wife were on trivia, weren't they?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a funny story, if you don't mind me telling it, because he came to trivia, I think, only once, didn't he, Kat?
No,
Once
he's
or
been
twice,
there
yeah.
twice.
Okay, twice. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Something for trivia night.
Yeah. And I'd never met him. I knew about him. And he came to trivia, and I said, well, I'm going to leave trivia early because I'm heading to Iceland tomorrow. And he's like, he private messaged me and said, oh, you're going to Iceland? So are we. And it turned out that we were going to Iceland for, I think it was 10
Well,
days.
it's official. RFK is.
Sorry.
Oh. So, I sent the link and you clicked on it, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I'm
Yeah, there we
sorry.
go. And so, yeah, so we were going to be in Iceland at the same time. He was coming on a cruise ship to Iceland, and we were hopping on that same ship. So as he was getting off, we were getting on, and we were able to have dinner there. So we met in person for the first time ever in Iceland. It was very funny. Isn't that crazy? It's like I met Lois in Toronto, though we both
Toronto.
live in Calgary, right? I met
Uh-huh.
Kat in Calgary. Yeah. It's an amazing kind of a funny world, isn't it? And as
It
a
is.
result of that meeting, we've kind of done some work together, which is really fun.
It's cool.
And you've
honing
built a
my-
community, which is so important for your health.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, yes.
But you know, if it
yes.
wasn't for the internet, I wouldn't have these friends from all over the place, right?
Right?
And Lois, you must really feel that because of your
Oh, I'm
your
totally
health.
dependent on it. I mean, I was just thinking about, loneliness. And like I said, I've been working on this script to do a video that'll be about 15 minutes long about, the loneliness and religion. And I am totally not lonely because of you on the internet. And I live on it because I just hardly can leave the house.
Mhm.
And so it means it's everything to me now. And used properly, it's the greatest thing in the world. Yeah.
Well, to me, I think mixing religion and loneliness is kind of like an abusive relationship.
Oh yeah. Well, the
You know?
strings attached are so awful.
Mhm.
I mean, the demands, you can't be yourself and be religious. That's all there is to it. I mean, I even made a T-shirt that says, "When I lost my faith, I found myself."
Oh, I love that.
But yeah, you got to have a community without strings attached.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I
no
tried-
cults.
I tried
No
to
cults.
find- I tried
Although
to-
we can have a group that talks about cults because I love cults. I just watched a whole series on a doomsday cult about cats.
Oh,
I know.
interesting.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay then. You have my attention.
Let's
I love me a good cult.
Let's see.
Must have been
I think it's Bast
eh?
that's the cat-headed Egyptian goddess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cats deserve to be worshipped. Look at Lois's kitten.
Yes.
Aww.
Yes.
Doesn't like being held up, but because she was asleep.
Aw.
Yes.
Anyway,
Sweet
Yeah.
baby.
now she's mad at me, but that's okay. She'll go back to sleep.
Give her
Should we-
extra
should-
treats from me.
Should we all change our middle names to Godfrey?
Oh,
Oh.
good idea.
Boy, Vincent, you're getting a run for your money tonight with the jokes.
Oh, yeah, I'm not even paying attention. Sorry. I had paid attention to the talk, but not the joke.
And now you're over it. You're like, whatever. It's just that goofy cat girl again.
I tried to find your keychain that you gave me, but are you kidding me? You remember that?
Mm-hmm. Of course, I bought it just for you.
Yes, yeah. But unfortunately, it's I can't find it, so I don't know. It's around here somewhere. But
I guess she gave it to you at the conference last year.
Mhm.
yes.
Speaking of conference, Elio, are you gonna talk
Plug
about
the
that?
conference.
Yeah. Well,
I got my
actually,
tickets.
Adrian, you're in the committee, right? So, do you want to talk
I'm not on
about
the
it?
committee.
Oh, you're not on the
No, I'm not.
committee.
No?
So there's
Oh,
no
that's
one
right.
on the
You're not on
committee
the
on
committee.
this meeting now.
No,
Well,
I'm not
I'm going to
here.
be at the WeCanReason conference this May. If you want to see me in live and in person,
Yeah,
come check it out.
well,
It's May 2
And
to 4
the
in
tickets went on
Calgary.
sale Monday, right? I think they
yeah,
went
we
on sale
tickets
sold
went on sale
already
Monday.
the 10 the DoorDash ones, and now this
Oh.
Friday we'll start. No, sorry, I'm not sure if it's this Friday or Monday. We'll start selling the
Early
early
bird?
birds one. Yeah, the early bird ones, and they're going like hot.
You should just
hot
start
bread.
selling the early bird ones right now.
Yeah, it's a great lineup of people.
Yeah,
I
it
was
is.
guessing at least one more to come on the list.
Oh, that's cool.
I think.
Yeah, and Robert
Yeah.
is dealing with the website because, well, I'm doing my best, but I'm a little far from Canada now. So, but the posts are ready to go on this Friday, so you'll all be receiving all the communication uh, Friday or Monday with the weekly digest. And we'll be emailing directly people that are interested. And we have a lot of people registering for the information that we send regularly. So yeah, it's been exciting. But I'm a little far from you guys now, so I'm 10,000 kilometers, a few hours early.
You
So
must be tired right now.
actually, yeah, I took a nap before because I wanted
Oh,
to make sure
good.
that I would be uh,
So you're in
awake for
Europe
now.
somewhere.
No, I'm in Brazil.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it's yeah. So it's not totally to the east, but still a
No,
few
not
hours.
totally. Yeah, just 4 hours. Yeah. So now it's
Yeah.
12:40, but it is not.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's not so
Yeah,
bad.
That's
yeah,
when I
in your
start to
But
time
wake
no,
zone.
up.
but for your
Yeah.
opinion in this matter, Lois, it's not very helpful because you will wake up at, I don't know, 10, 9 a.m. or 1 p.m. and you have a different
Oh, much later than
schedule
that. It
than ours.
used to be 9 or 10, but now it's much, much later than that. I've gotten to where I can't sleep at night at all. I just,
Oh, that sucks.
no matter how tired I am, it hits midnight and I'm wide awake and I go for several hours before I can even begin to sleep. It's
Yeah,
weird. Something's wrong with
You
me.
just roll with
yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
But now we know, so we mail you and we know that you'll be replying the following day.
Yes. Right. Yeah, Peter's in Finland now, and he's up before I go to bed. So Peter and I have emailed when he's getting up in the morning in Finland, which is 9 hours ahead.
That's cool. Okay, so
I can't help it.
if you guys don't have any more questions, so let me just share with you our speaker's contact. I hope you can
Oh,
all
perfect.
see,
Yeah.
and it will be on the posted on the video comments, and I'll be posting about the video when it's ready, so you all have the information there. Okay, and to finish here, next month, unfortunately Leslie couldn't stay to the end of the video, but next month is Leslie talking about secularism in Canada, and I'm pretty sure it will be very interesting
Well,
because
unfortunately, I'll be on a plane to Australia, so I'll have to miss those.
oh yeah, but
It'll be recorded.
Yeah,
yeah.
oh, that's right. I love the recording. Good.
Yeah, so this video, I hope it won't take too long to upload, so I'll probably be sharing it tomorrow with everybody. And let me
Great.
stop
Awesome.
recording
Lovely.
now.
Thank you.